The crunch of tires on my gravel driveway yanked my attention from the zucchini I was pruning. Through the morning haze, a sleek silver Range Rover barreled up my private road, spitting dust and pebbles like a petulant child. It screeched to a stop inches from my heirloom squash patch, a plot my great-grandpa nurtured for decades. I squinted, half expecting a lost tourist, but the driver's door swung open, and out stepped Vanessa Hawthorne, president of the Willow Grove Homeowners Association. In her tailored blazer and glittering earrings, she looked as alien on my farm as a peacock in a pigsty. "Mr. Callahan," she called, her voice sharp enough to slice through the dawn quiet, refusing to step closer like my dirt might ruin her Dula 600 heels. "I've left 6 notices in your mailbox about compliance violations. Since you've ignored them, I'm here myself." I stood slowly, my 54-year-old knees creaking after hours in the garden, and wiped my muddy hands on my faded jeans. "Mrs. Hawthorne, as I've written back 5 times, Mind Yumi Land ain't part of your HOA. Never was, never will be." Her perfectly sculpted face twitched, fighting to scowl. "That's nonsense. The town council expanded our authority last month. The council can't just rope in private land without consent," I said, my patience fraying like old rope. "I've checked the records. My farm's protected by agricultural laws. Your rules stop on my fence the one your fancy SUV crossed to get here. That makes you a trespasser." Vanessa snorted, yanking papers from her leather satchel. "Read the ordinance again, Section 5, Paragraph 2. I cut her off. "I was at the meeting. Were you?" Her pause was answer enough. "Thought so. That amendment's about future zoning, not my land. Now, move your car. It's blocking my tractor path." Her cheeks flushed beneath her flawless makeup. "Mr. Callahan, your stubbornness is pointless. The development board has a generous offer for this dirt pile." I turned back to my squash. "Not selling. And you're still trespassing." Her huff was pure indignation, followed by the click of her heels on gravel. Her engine roared louder than needed, and she peeled out, tearing ruts in my driveway before vanishing in a cloud of dust. My neighbor, Ed Ramsey, strolled over from his 50-acre plot, chuckling. At 78, Ed had watched suburbia creep over our rural haven for years. "Queen bees buzzing again. Huh," he said, leaning on my fence. "3rd time this month." I nodded, getting bolder too, nearly flattened my squash. Ed's face sobered. "Mike, these HOA types don't quit. My buddy in Oakdale lost his land to fines, noise complaints, livestock violations. They bled him dry." I bristled. My family held this farm through the Depression, wars, and the 80s farm crisis. I ain't folding for some HOA princess. Ed's warning stuck, though. Next morning, a violation notice was taped to my mailbox. Me unsightly farm equipment was an aesthetic breach. The fine, Dula, $250, payable to Willow Grove HOA. I ripped it down, adding it to my harassment file. That afternoon, I cited Sheriff Dan Carter, a high school pal who knew property law cold. "They can't enforce HOA rules on non-members," Dan confirmed, flipping through my papers. "But Vanessa's tight. With Commissioner Hayes they golf together. Watch your step. They'll try county ordinances next. Document everything." I spent the next week fortifying my defenses, repainting fences, clearing brush, storing gear neatly. I even had my water rights and survey recertified. The following Sunday, I was up at dawn for irrigation checks, a ritual my grandpa started. The distant hum of Willow Grove's construction grated on the silence. Then I saw it. Vanessa's Range Rover parked smack across my cattle gate, blocking access to my irrigation pumps. The car was empty, locked, and placed to screw me over. Through the mist, I spotted Vanessa at my property line with county officials, her voice carrying. "His runoff threatens our drainage system," she said, pointing at a ditch my family dug in 1910. My blood boiled. She was faking a water violation to sidestep my agricultural protections and blocking my gate to keep me from the controls during the inspection. That was it. 5 generations of Callahan grit surged through me. I marched to my barn, fired up my ancient Massey Ferguson tractor, and rolled back to the Range Rover. With the precision of a surgeon, I used the front loader to lift her SUV by its frame, slow and steady, and chugged toward my back pasture where my 25 cows grazed. Vanessa noticed mid-sentence, her smug grin morphing to horror. "What are you doing?" she shrieked, sprinting over, her heels sinking into the dirt, officials jogging behind. "Put my car down." I kept MOVYing, topping out at 15 miles per hour. "Just MOVYing an illegally parked vehicle, Mrs. Hawthorne," I shouted. "It's blocking my farm operations. This is vandalism. I'll have you arrested." Her face was crimson, lipstick trembling. I stopped at the pasture's edge, cows already eyeing the shiny intruder. "Virginia law says I can remove trespassing vehicle from my land," I said coolly. "Checked with Sheriff Carter last week." A young official, clutching a clipboard, nodded nervously. "He's right, Mrs. Hawthorne." She looked ready to explode. "Then move it to the road, not here." She flailed at the muddy pasture. "Law doesn't say where I gotta put it," I replied, lowering the Range Rover gently into a spot I knew would turn to slop after the sprinklers ran. Right on cue, the irrigation system kicked on, spraying arcs of water over the SUV's gleaming hood. My cows, sensing a spectacle, ambled over, sniffing the alien object. Vanessa was apoplectic. "Those beasts will ruin it." I shrugged, killing the tractor's engine. "You trespassed and blocked my equipment. I moved your car legally. What the cows do ain't my problem." My lead cow, Mabel, rubbed her flank against the driver's door, smearing mud and hair. Another licked the side mirror, Leah VYing a slobbery trail. The officials struggled to stay stone-faced. One coughed to hide a grin. The eldest, Tom Bradley from the waterboard, spoke up. "Mrs. Hawthorne, Mr. Callahan's irrigation complies with county rules. That ditch has water rights since 1915. We're done here." Vanessa barely heard, fixated on a third cow nosing her hood ornament. "I'll sue you for everything," she hissed, turning to me. I pointed to my new security cameras. "Check the footage first. It shows you blowing past for no trespassing signs to park here." No lawyers taking that case. For once, Vanessa had no retort, her eyes darting as another cow nudged her bumper. "You can grab your car," I said. "Gates open, but those heels won't like the mud." The sprinklers swung back, dousing the Range Rover's roof. Defeated, Vanessa slumped. Tom Bradley handed me his card, whispering, "Your grandpa be proud, Mike. Funniest inspection in 25 years." I offered Vanessa a deal. I tow her car out if she signed a statement exempting my farm from HOA rules and stopped the harassment. Grudgingly, she agreed. 30 minutes later, her pristine blazer caked in mud and cow dung, she sat silently in my truck as I towed her Range Rover out. The SUV reeked of wet grass and cattle, its leather interior ruined by open windows. Between us sat her signed exemption. Ed Ramsey appeared, grinning. "Morning, Vanessa." "Car trouble." Her glare could have melted steel, but she said nothing, her hair a wreck, makeup streaked. At the road, I handed over her keys. "We're done. No more stunts." She snatched them. "This isn't over, Callahan. The developers won't stop with my signature." I nodded. "Figured. But my farm's now a state-protected agricultural site. Approved yesterday. No zoning, no HOA ever." Shock flickered across her face, then calculation. "Every farm has a price." I stepped back. "Not mine. This is my family's blood and bones, where my kids learned to walk, where my dad taught me to plow. Your developers can't buy that." I drove off, watching in my mirror as she futilely wiped manure from her blazer before climbing into her defiled SUV. Word of the Range Rover rumble spread like wildfire. By nightfall, my phone pinged with texts from neighbors, some calling it legendary. Sheriff Dan called, laughing so hard he could barely speak, saying Vanessa's complaint at the station went nowhere. I was in the clear. A week later, the Willow Grove developers requested a meeting. Wary but curious, I agreed, insisting they park at my gate. Only two came, Greg Thornton, the project head, and Leasing Wynn, an NVY environmental consultant. "No, Vanessa." "Mr. Callahan," Greg began, "we're sorry for Mrs. Hawthorne's antics." Skeptical, I listened. The buffer would protect my water rights and add a conservation easement. Most crucially, they'd permanently exempt my farm from HOA rules. Why the flip? I asked. Greg sighed. Vanessa's tactics scared off buyers worried about HOA overreach. Plus, your state designation killed our old plan. This is smarter business. Lisa added, buyers want rural charm, not sterile suburbs. Your farm's a draw. And I'm molded over later, sipping his homemade peach brandy on my porch. They're spinning your farm into a selling point now, he marveled. I nodded. Just capitalism pivoting. They'll profit with me, not against me. We toasted as stubborn farmers and nosy cows. Months later, peace settled in. The new HOA kept their distance, and the buffer zone lined with native plants boosted both properties. Locals flocked to my farm stand, CRAVYing fresh veggies and farm stories. Vanessa, I heard, sold her half-built Willow Grove mansion and fled to a gated community elsewhere. Her Range Rover, despite detailing, stank of cows and was donated for a tax break. A year later, Tom Bradley stopped by for zucchini and dropped a bombshell. Your tractor stunt shook things up, Mike. The county's tightening rules on HOA overreach. Commissioner Hayes lost his seat partly over developer ties. You started a wave. As he left, I gazed over my fields, the sun glinting off my grandpa's irrigation pipes. Willow Grove's homes sparkled in the distance, not enemies now, just neighbors. Standing firm wasn't just about my farm. It rippled, protecting other farmers, preserving our way of life. All it took was a fed-up farmer, a trusty tractor, and some cows with perfect timing. I grinned, picturing that muddy Range Rover, a lesson in rural grit no money could buy. What do you think? Did I go too far towing Vanessa's SUV? Or was it justice served? Should farmers like me compromise with developers or fight to the end? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button if you're Team Tractor and subscribe for more tales of country defiance.